Hello, and thank you so very much for dropping by this video. I'm going to talk today about sharing or teaching Bruno Groening's work for anyone who's interested in doing that. If you're new to this channel or you're thinking, who on earth is Bruno Groening? Well, this may not exactly be the video for you. Of course, you're welcome to watch it, but you can find out more about Bruno Groening and his teachings in some of my other videos or on my webpage, thehealingstream.org. So, someone recently let me know that they are interested in teaching, sharing Bruno's work, his teaching with other people. And he asked me for guidance on that, and or more like mentoring, and it really got me thinking about what it is to teach, and specifically how to teach and how to share Bruno Groening. So the first thing that comes to mind is there's very different approaches and ways. And there, in my mind, one way I break it down and think about it is, first of all, there's the practice of tuning in. Then there's Bruno Groening's teachings. Then there's Bruno Groening as a helper. And then there is some of the history and the story. And then, I'm not putting these in any particular order, there's as it comes to mind, there's healing reports, both one's own personal healing reports and then healings of other people that you've met or other healing reports that you've read. And then there's working together in a group. And so when I think about sharing Bruno Groening's, the Bruno Groening phenomena, and I really like that the documentary film was called that, the Bruno Groening phenomena, because to my mind, Bruno Groening is a phenomenon. He wasn't just a person, he was a person who came and, in my view, profoundly impacted this world. Those are the different sort of aspects. If we were to look at the Bruno Groening phenomena as a whole, those are what I would consider the main aspects, and where to even begin to think about how to teach and how to share. And it's not that you have to share all of those or do all of those. And one other one that comes to mind is, how does Bruno Groening's teachings relate to other spiritual teachings? That's something that I'm personally fascinated with. Other people may or may not be. And that may or may not be important to you on your own personal journey, but also on sharing this work with others. So to the person who asked about sharing Bruno's teachings, and to us as individuals, because I think everyone, once we've found out about Bruno Groening and his teachings, we want to share it on some level. I think that's true for maybe most people. And so the first thing I would say is, of all those things I mentioned, which are you most passionate about? What grabs you the most? For me personally, what I'm really passionate about is Bruno Groening's teachings, and some of what I would call the deeper philosophy that he talks about, but other people don't talk about so much. That's where I really get lit up. And I really get lit up around the practice of tuning in. And so that's what I tend to focus on, for better and for worse. For better, it's what I'm passionate about. For worse, maybe the other topics, I could be a little more balanced and rounded out. And life is a growth process. So that's the first thing to anyone who wants to share Bruno Groening and his work, is what aspect of it inspires you? Because there's a lot. There's different things I mentioned. the practice of tuning in, Bruno as a helper, Bruno's teachings, the history, um, doing this together in groups, how this healing reports, maybe that's more important. I'm trying to put them in order of what I see as importance, but that's just my view. So again, tuning in, Bruno Groening as a helper, Bruno's teachings, healing reports, uh, doing this work in a group or tuning in the group setting, and then the last one is maybe optional, how this relates or doesn't relate to other. So that's the first place I would say, again, to this person or to anyone else who wants to share this work is, which of those topics lights you up the most? And it's not that you have to pick one and exclude the other, but that's a good place to start, in my view, and to reflect on the Bruno Groening phenomenon, to reflect on this practice of tuning in, Bruno as a helper, Bruno's teachings, and all the other things I mentioned. And then the one other thing I would add is, Bruno's teachings, the way I learned it and the way I think of it and practice it, it kind of comes in layers. Like the first layer might be tuning in and giving away the illness, and then learning to monitor our thoughts, being open to faith. And then there comes, things like, what does it mean to be guided by God, to surrender to God? So that, in terms of his teachings, that's the other thing I would throw out to think about. So I'm going to make a series of videos on this topic, and there'll be a playlist. So when you go to my channel, for those who don't know, not just my channel, but any channel, I'm going to go to my channel right now. And one moment. So when you go to my channel or any channel, you see at the top it says Home Videos Live Playlists. If you click on playlists, and again, this isn't just my channel, but other channels, playlists are usually a set of videos that have a specific topic. So, for example, I have a playlist called Miraculous Healings I've Experienced that are some of my healing testimonies. And I have a playlist called, oops, it just disappeared on me. Oh, there we go. Now it's back. Technology. And I have other playlists on specific topics you can look at. So I'm going to make a playlist on this specific topic. Okay, now let's tune in. Hopefully you're tuning in already, but let's formally tune in now. So, setting aside all burdens, worries, and problems, handing them over to God or spiritual helpers such as Bruno, whom you just trust completely. Bruno once said, empty or unburden your dear little heart. So let's unburden our heart. Let's give it to God and or Bruno and or a helper whom we trust. And then let's ask to receive the Heilstrom, the divine energy, the divine power, the power that heals and the power that saves us ultimately from suffering, from attachment, from evil. And observe your body with the will, the intention to take in that goodness and be free from everything not good. Just keep coming back to the will, the intention to take in this good energy. I'm going to close out with a prayer. I'd like to thank everyone who joined in live and everyone who took the time to watch this video. Beloved source, our dear friend Bruno Groening, please, for each one of us, the highest blessing, highest healing, please help us to learn all the spiritual lessons we came to this life to learn. And please help us to understand that we are part of a whole. We're part of individual families, work groups, different groups, neighborhoods, cities, countries, states. We're all part of different groups. Please help us to be harmonious participants, to contribute to all the different groups, all the different relationships we have. Please help us to be guided moment by moment and to recognize our need for guidance and our need for the divine. Please help us to live in harmony with nature. And please help us to see the inherent goodness, the inherent divinity of every human being. Thank you, thank you, thank you. If you have any specific prayer requests, feel free to inwardly ask them. Thank you so much, everyone, for joining in. I wish you a blessed, blessed day.